In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to make this stylish corset dress with round gathers. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. On my pattern, I've gone ahead to mark out my basic measurements. I've marked out my shoulder to bust, under bust, waistline, 7 inches to get your hip point and the full length of the dress. So I'm using 35 inches for my dress. Now I'll go ahead to mark my shoulder divided by 2 and I'll come down by 1 inch there. Place my ruler, my shoulder slant or slope. The next step is to find my chest line. Do that is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 inches. I made a mark on that point and I'll draw out a straight line. After I'm done marking that, the next step is to go ahead to mark what I have on the shoulder back. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll draw out a straight line, and on that point I'll go ahead to divide what I have here into 2 and I will mark. So after marking, I'll come in by ½ inch, and on the chest line I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'll place my curve drill and I'm going to connect from there all the way to the upper part of this pattern. So after I'm done connecting, I'll go ahead to mark my that, and which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I went ahead to mark this all the way going down to my pattern. After I'm done marking, I'll be marking my dart intake, and to mark my dart intake, I'm marking 1 inch on both sides. From here I'll come down by 4 inches. So if you're a bit busty or you're on the plus size, please go ahead and use 1.5 inches. Now you're going to go ahead to connect, and after connecting, you're going to connect it all the way to the 4 inches mark we have at the lower part of this pattern. After marking that, I'm going to place my curve drill and connect to the under post, and after that I'll go ahead to connect on this side. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline this part of my pattern. After outlining with my marker, the next step is to go ahead to draw out the cup area. So now you can decide where you want your cup to stop. Mine is at 1.5 inches, and I'll go ahead to place my tape again and mark my nipple to nipple line divided by 2, and I'll connect. So after this, I'll be marking my dart intake of 1 inch on both sides. If you're also a plus size or busty, you can use 1.5 inches on both sides and connect. After you're done connecting that, the next step you're going to take is to draw out the cup. So I'll mark out my bust line, and my chest line, go in by ½ inch, and I'll connect. So after I'm done connecting at this point, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to place my curve drill, and I'll connect it to the under bust of my pattern. After I'm done connecting to the under bust, I'm going to go ahead to connect this all the way down. So looking at the pattern, this went towards the under bust, but mine, I won't take it that low because I don't want it to be too revealing. After this, I'll go ahead to outline my pattern. To draw out your cup, you can mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2 and add half. So if you're a bit busty, you'll be adding 1 inch. From here, I'll go ahead to connect and then connect at this upper part. So I'll go ahead to just divide my cup to create that 3-piece corset cup effect on my cup. So after I'm done marking this, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to mark my measurements on. So now on the cup, you notice that there's this part of the cup that is laying on it like an overlay or overlap. This is part of the cup actually. So what to achieve that part, all you have to do is to go ahead to extend this part of your cup and then connect it back. So when you attach your cup will not get to that point, and then it will now flip back to the corset pattern. But I don't want to have that on my own. I just want to have a basic corset cup, so I will not be using it. So I went ahead to clean it off. Next, I will add my measurement to my pattern. My bust is 33 divided by 4, and I will go ahead to mark. After marking, I will measure this dart intake, replace, and I'll go ahead to add my sewing allowance to the pattern. Now at the under bust, I'll go ahead to mark my under bust circumference, which is 28 divided by 4. I have 7. Measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. So I realized my sewing allowance was not complete at the bust, so I went ahead to mark that. My waist and under bust measurement is the same, which is the same 28, and we are not snatching our waistline for this pattern. Here I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and then I'll add my sewing allowance. So whatever I have here, you can just take it straight down, because the lower part of this dress is a gathers. And also going towards the front, you find out that the gathers we have there is slightly longer, so we'll be achieving that when we are actually sewing this dress. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe, and also leave your comment at the comment section. If you also have a question, go ahead to leave your question at the comment section. So I'll just go ahead and outline my pattern. After I'm done outlining, we are now going to go ahead to draw out the gathered area of this pattern. But before doing that, I'll blend in my dart, and I'll just draw this little strap to indicate that we have a little sleeve there. So from this part, I'll come down by 4 inches or 5 inches, so whatever measurement you want to use. So I just went ahead to mark 4 inches again, and then I'll be connecting it all the way down this way. And after connecting it, I'll go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 be the measurement we are going to take all the way to the lower part of this dress. And I'll place my ruler to draw out a straight line. And also for the gathered area of this dress, you can also go ahead to use the pattern you have by the side to do that, or you can go ahead to cut out a fresh pattern for it. So we'll be working on that side when we are actually making the dress. Now I'll just go ahead to outline, and we'll be cutting out this pattern. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment at the comment section. So I'll just make this mark to indicate we have a button at the center, and after that I'll label my pattern, and I'll go ahead to cut this out. So if you're still having issues on how to cut out your basic corset pattern, you can join us on our 5 days corset class, where we'll be teaching you how to take proper measurements for your corset, also how to draft 5 different types of corsets. So to register, you can go ahead to send a message on our WhatsApp number. So after cutting this, you're going to go ahead to join your pattern. That is when you're sewing it, you're going to join your pattern this way, and you're going to be joining your cup. So for the gathers part, you can decide to use this pattern you have here, extend it at the lower part a bit. So to cut the back, I've gone ahead to mark out the basic measurement, just like we did for the front. The only difference is that I have a zipper at the back. So for my pattern, my corset pattern, I used a basic corset pattern. If you notice, I did not add a bust dart to it. So now what I will do is to go ahead to mark my shoulder to bust line, which I did not do, but I have marked out all the measurement just like we did for the front pattern. At the bust, I'll start marking my dart, and to mark your dart is still the same way, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 4, and from the waistline you come down by 4 inches. So after this, I'll go ahead to label out my pattern, and I'll be placing my ruler, and I'll go ahead to connect. Now I'll be marking ½ inch on both sides of the pattern, and after marking that, I'll come down by 1 inch from this side, and I'll go ahead to connect, and also connect at this side. So the next step is to insert my measurement, and my measurement is starting after the zipper line, which I marked my bust circumference divided by 4, added my sewing allowance. Waist, I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Here I'll mark the hip circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. So for my sewing allowance, I added just added 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance, and my bust is 33 divided by 4. I have 8.3. My under bust and waist is 28 divided by 3. I have 7 inches, which I replaced the dart intake. So I'll connect. Now my hip is 40 divided by 4. I have 10 inches and added my sewing allowance. So after I'm done connecting, whatever you have on the hip, take it down. So from this point on my waistline, I'll come up by 4 inches and I'll now place my curvy. Notice at the back is a bit curvy and I'll place it close to the hip point and I'll connect. At the zipper, I'll come in by ½ inch. This is to get rid of the bulginess at the back. Now I'll extend this all the way up and also extend it to the upper part of this pattern. So after extending this, I'll go ahead to cut it out. So for the lower part of this dress, you can decide to use these gathers. So I forgot to mention the length of my dress, which is 35 inches. So to get that part of your dress, that is the lower part, what you're going to do is you're going to minus your shoulder to waist plus that extra 4 inches. So my waist is 17 plus 4, which is 21. What I'll do is 35 minus 21. So whatever I have will now serve as the gathers area, but going towards the end in front of my pattern, I'll be adding an additional length to it. Join us in our next video where we'll be making this dress.